Reports have it that there are efforts in Congress to realign the enormous funds that have been amassed from the motor vehicle users charge, which may already have amounted to 12.79 billion pesos by 2016. Senator Recto is leading the efforts, and we are privileged to have him with us this afternoon. Good afternoon, Senator Recto, and welcome to Motoring Today.
Good afternoon, Butch, and to all the viewers of Motoring Today.
Mr. Senator, we gathered that you are leading the charge in Congress to realign the use of the funds from the motor vehicle users charge for the further development of the country's wanting mass transit system. Would you have any specific mode of mass transport in mind? Would it be below ground or subway, above ground like our present metro rail, or even monorail, or through the Pasig River?
Well, first of all, that is correct. We filed several bills here using the motor vehicle users charge to have a fund, a mass transit support fund. I leave it to the professionals of the DOTR, the Department of Transportation, to determine kung ito ba'y dapat subway, above ground ba to. But I also support the rehabilitation of the Pasig River for transportation purposes.
Tell us, would you have any figure in mind? Or how much of the present balance of the funds would the bill be targeting? Would you also consider a continuing certain portion of the MVUC in the coming years as we continue to collect this additional tax from vehicle owners?
More or less, we're collecting something like 12 billion a year. Now, there is still a balance, 7 to 10 billion ang balansa dyan, and we're collecting about 12 billion a year. And the more cars that are sold every year, lumalaki palalo yung collection natin dyan. No? Kulang pa rin yan as a support fund for mass transport system. No? So this is part of the equity of government that it can use for the mass transit support fund or to help subsidize users of the mass transit system. No? Dahil alam natin mahal yan eh. So kailangan may konting subsidy din ng users. So palagay ko kulang ba yung 12 billion, but it is a seed money for mass transit support.
Now, there have been expressed opinions that have been against the MVUC, even from the time it was being introduced. Those against it were saying it was an unnecessary burden for the motoring public. And somehow it now seems that there was some sense in the argument, considering the enormous amount of unused funds from the road tax. They are now saying that if the funds were unused, it only supports the opinion that it was unnecessary. Now, I know this is somewhat all water under the bridge, but we can still learn from it. Now, what's your take on this?
I think the most important thing right now is kailangan natin ng additional mass transport systems in the country. No? Not only in Metro Manila, but you have the MRTs, the LRTs that are sorely lacking. No? You also have the PNR. Noong araw we had from La Union to Legazpi. And there are moves now to have a mass transport system also in Cebu, in Davao, among others. No? So ngayon palagay ko napapanood na pwedeng gamitin. In effect, the private sector car owners will help subsidize mass transport system. That's the idea for this bill right now.
Senator Ralph, how possible is it to include in your amending bill the mandatory use of a certain portion of the funds, which I think is already part of the mandate, to upgrade to international standards all the traffic signs and road markings in the country to further promote road safety?
We're open to all those suggestions, so I would like to crowdsource other ideas as well. No? So during the hearings of the committee, we will invite you and listen to all the experts as well. If it is necessary to use a part of that for that purpose, I have no objections to that. But initially, my position is, yung collection sa MVUCC, gamitin natin para sa mass transport system.
I also understand that a mandated part of the use of the funds is to promote road safety through education. Do you think you can also include the strict mandated use of these funds for such purpose in your amending bill?
We can use a portion of it for educating vehicle owners and drivers. No? So I support that as well. And I think I do have other bills along those lines as well.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Senator. We know it's very precious due to your workload, and we are very thankful for sharing it with the general motoring public. Before we end, would you have any message related to this bill you are proposing?
Well, I only ask the public to support this initiative. Palagay ko, kailangan na talaga na we must make more investments in our mass transit system. And so I thank you, Butch, for giving me the opportunity to be on your program, to be heard and watched by everyone watching your great TV show. More power to you, and I look forward to being with you again.
Thank you once again, Mr. Senator.
Thank you, Butch. Happy motoring.
The Honorable Senator Ralph Recto and House Bill number 266, which proposes to realign the use of the Road Users Tax Funds. Our distinguished guest on Motoring Today's Motoring Forum.